Jesus.
I mean, the eye roll.
No, it's so real. It's so real.
Serious. She's
so
like,
now we're
"Tell me."
live. You can tell everybody what it is.
It's actually nothing. So anyway, she was like, I can't wait maybe to talk to Lexi one day or whatever. Or she's like Lexi or Alexis. I don't know. What's her name? I get confused because you guys call her different things.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, Candice said.
I said, I call her Lexi all the time, but I only say Alexis during the show because your name is written in front of me.
I use them both interchangeably. I think if a straight white man can be both Bob, Bobby, and Robert, I can be both Lexi and Alexis, and it shouldn't be a problem. You know?
And it doesn't bother you.
No, it doesn't.
What does your mother call you?
My mother calls me Lexi.
Okay. And
I try to do Alexis professionally, but everyone who knows me as Alexis always calls me Alex or Alexia for some reason.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know what the disconnect
And
is.
that's just not your name.
Neither one of those are my name. So I'd rather people call me Lexi than mess up Alexis.
Yes, absolutely. What is the topic we're going to speak on today? And I'm hoping it's not current events.
None of the sad political current events.
Yeah, I'd like to steer clear of those.
Can we talk about one fun current event? Did you guys watch Last Dance? We've actually never talked about this together. You guys haven't watched Last Dance?
Is that a TV show?
It's the Michael Jordan documentary. That's incredible.
It's on the list. I am going to watch it.
You have to watch it. I'm not even a basketball fan, and I was moved. It's very, very good.
I saw the Dennis Rodman post today.
What'd you say?
There's been a lot of Dennis Rodman posts lately.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was he in his feelings about it?
No, it's actually a celebration of all the crazy things he's done in his life.
It's just been a lot. Like, I mean, good for him, but yeah, it's just been a lot.
It's been a lot.
I think that he's had such bad PR because as a non-basketball fan, I had no idea he was actually a great athlete. All I've ever known
he's a great player.
In North Korea. That's all that I knew him for. I'm like, he needs a new PR team. If that's the case.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Maybe he just doesn't have one.
I mean, this is going back in the day, but like, you really, in basketball, you can't afford to have a player that doesn't play offense, right? Like, there's only so many people on the court, right? Everyone has to play their role, both sides. He was so dominant as a defender, and they had so many other people that could score. They were just like, yeah, just lock that person down. That's all you have to do. Just make sure they don't score. Yeah, and he would do it night in, night out, like in a very Mike Tyson chew your ear off kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, amazing player. It depends on how you see it, but.
So definitely at least watch the first. You don't have to watch the first 2 episodes. Watch episodes 2 through 8. It's 10 episodes.
How long is an episode?
It's like an hour. I mean, it's been on for about 2 months. They would release 2 episodes every Sunday.
Yeah. We just started Lovebirds with Issa Rae last night, so we'll try to finish it up tonight.
How was that?
I mean, it was hilarious.
It's funny, yeah.
We just started it too late because these Twitch pitch days go long. Like, it's just such a long day.
They do.
So, yeah. No, but.
Hey, DeMarcus.
Always so positive.
I love that he's back. I love it.
Oh wait, have you guys seen what is it called? The new Spotify announcement about the cap? I'm actually curious if you've ever reached the cap. So if you don't know, I guess you don't know. Spotify has a cap on you being able to save 10,000 songs up until yesterday. And I've hit the cap on multiple occasions where they would just make you delete old songs you haven't listened to. But now it's unlimited. So people like me who are obsessed about our music collections can expand forever.
Like, so you have 10,000 songs in your library?
I have 10,000 songs in my library. Yes. Well, 9,000 because I always try to trim it down.
Could you like sing any one of them?
I don't know how other people would feel about that. Also, the way Marlon's mic and the sound is set up, I don't know how.
I don't think she was asking for you to sing it in this moment.
I don't mean right, but I'm
do you know the words?
do you know them enough to know the words? Yeah.
Some of them. Sometimes I'll download an entire album, particularly a musical theater album, and I'll only listen to like 3 songs on the album, you know? So I won't actually know all the words, but.
Actually, I do have a question, a current events question, and maybe Lexi, you know what this is.
Uh-oh.
So, no, it's not like, who cares? It's not sad current events.
Uh-huh.
Who's Lana Del Rey, and why was she getting dragged on the internet? So I tried to look her up, right, to see if I knew any songs by her. And Brian is now making a face because I guess I was supposed to know. Do you know who it is, Brian?
I was reading Marlon's private chat, and that's why the face I was making. I don't know who Lana Del Rey is, so that's why I tuned out to be.
So she goes by Lana Del Rey, and
Lana.
she is a songwriter and indie pop, indie alternative singer.
Okay.
The songs you would know from her that were American hits would be "Summertime Sadness." You
I know
know
that
that?
Oh
one.
yeah.
That's her. And Young and Beautiful.
From the Gatsby soundtrack.
Yeah, so those are her biggest American hits.
Okay.
That's who she is.
Okay, so what was she getting dragged on the internet for?
It's really not even that interesting. She basically released a statement saying that she wished that she could sing about sex and drugs and wearing skimpy clothes and being cheated on. And then she named people
I
like
saw the people she named.
Beyonce, Doja Cat, et cetera, and get recognized as an artist. And so people were saying, like, why did you have to name those people? Also, who cares? It's really like a non-issue because who cares?
Yeah, I saw it and I just didn't understand.
It feels like she's about to drop an album and this is a way to stir up attention so people remember her name when she drops it.
Maybe
that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
That's like that girl a couple weeks ago who wrote a whole article like dragging Chrissy Teigen, and then the Chrissy Teigen like hive comes out and like jumps on her and just like don't come for her. She's the wrong one.
What was the article about?
The article was about how Chrissy Teigen like basically just sells a whole bunch of stuff that's not her own, is promoting things, and that's
She's
all
a
she
model.
cares
That's
for.
her job.
That's her entire job. Yeah, and like who does she think she is? Like, I don't know. I think people should just leave other people alone. Like, you don't need to release your book and then drag other people down with you.
100%.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
nobody cares.
It's just not nice. Yeah. And I guess they say, like, any press is good press, but I don't believe that. Because really, do you want a bad crowd following you?
That's true. That's true.
Voice of God, Marlon has a topic. Come on through here, Marlon. You got a topic. And where's your Morgan Freeman icon?
Oh, Joe Rogan's 300 million Spotify deal.
Oh. Do you guys want to talk about that? I don't have much to say. I do not like Joe Rogan at all.
I just don't. It's like what Candice said the last time. Is it really a big deal? Haven't people been going to platforms and getting paid forever? Like Howard Stern went to Sirius, right, and got like $1 bajillion to go over there from regular radio.
Yeah, Shonda Rhimes went to Netflix, right? Like,
It's just another one of those deals.
yeah. I mean, that's how I feel. I don't
Good
understand.
for his team.
Right, and these things are expensive. Now, he also said that, like, with the move came freedom. I don't really understand that.
What was he on beforehand?
Here we go.
Well, let's start with I don't know. And so I'm going to assume that Marlon knows. I guess I don't follow Joe Rogan all that much.
So he was on all the chat. He was on everything. Like,
okay, so now it's an exclusive deal?
Yeah.
I mean, I really only know Joe Rogan from the UFC, so I was never going to be the kind of person that followed him. And look, UFC fan, sorry, but
No, that's just funny. He was a comedian at one point of his life, and he was just a terrible comedian, which is why I don't like him.
Oh, was he like raunchy kind of?
Yeah, and in the earlier days of his podcast, just some, clickbaity guests and topics about humans, women in particular, that are a little unsettling to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, he is unsavory, and he does get down with like Trump's America. So it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But good on him for getting $300 million deal.
Woohoo.
Tech culture is here every week on time for the people.
I mean, right?
Yeah, he was right.
Appreciate that. And same with Demarcus. Like a new fan goes from the on the show to just here every week now.
He was here before, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the people, for the culture.
One thing I will say though is if in terms of Joe Rogan's deal, just quickly, I think you will see a lot more people who may not be exclusive to YouTube, but a lot of huge YouTube celebrities migrate over to private platforms because of the new copyright regulations and their new relatively invasive censorship policies around their advertising.
Mm.
That could be part of the freedom he's talking about. There's a lot of changes happening on YouTube that creators are not happy with.
I mean, every time a company gets too big, it starts to kind of fall away from the customer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the natural order of things. And then there'll be someone like Twitch will just show up and just, take their lunch,
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, it's feeling like 7:00. Oh, got the 1 minute warning.
I know. I'm trying not to talk too much. I feel like every time we get to this 1 minute mark, we get into a deep subject and then we get cut off.
I know.
So I'm getting my quick wit push notifications. Is anybody else playing this?
Oh,
I'm gonna do that right now.
So I've been playing it. I can honestly say I am not. Oh, I missed it. Sorry.
No.
Sorry, I missed it. These are very difficult questions. I think these are a level up from. I feel like I can hang on Jeopardy, at least to a certain point.
Yeah.
I definitely need to do this at a slightly more novice level. Yeah. Some of these really, really difficult. Very, very difficult. So, has anybody else played this?
Not yet.
I'm up next.
What?
I will next.
Yeah.
After the show, I'm downloading it.
At some point, yeah, I think we should totally. But the questions are written really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very, very hard though.
I love trivia.
Yeah, this would be good for a trivia night.
Candice, do you mind if we start?
Oh, sure. Sorry. I'm supposed to fill time. So, my push notifications sometimes help to fill it.
First, before I start, what's up, AK724?
Well,
Appreciate the excitement. Bringing it. All right. So, with that, welcome to Twitch Pitch. You are watching live the first pitch competition on Twitch, where you, the viewer, have an opportunity to vote for companies that you like best. Every episode, 2 companies pitch and compete for the title of Best Startup. The best company of the season will be a winner of our grand prizes. That includes $5,000 in cash and $100,000 in Amazon Web Services credits. Our sponsor, love them, shout out, thank you. First, the rules. We will watch the company as they present their pitch for 5 minutes, and then we'll bring them on the show live for us to ask questions. After that, we will select viewer-submitted questions for the company to answer as well. So please start thinking about your questions as they're on the show. In the end, the audience and the judges will have the opportunity to vote on a poll as to which company we like best. And the real question is, which would I invest in this company? So we will take the 12 companies we saw here in the first round, cut them down to 6 in the semifinal in a few weeks. And then from that time, the 6 becomes 3, and the 3 then become a 1 winner of the $5,000 prize and $100,000 in credits. Huge shout outs, again, Amazon Web Services, to PitchBook, who provides us with a lot of data to show you guys about the industries that these companies are in. I mean, we've got a bunch of new sponsors coming in next season, which are going to be absolutely amazing. Cannot wait to mention. Our judges tonight include myself, Brian Brackeen. I'm the general partner of Lightship Capital. Lightship, we invest in women and minority founders across the Midwest. And with me,
Candice Matthews-Rakeen, co-founder of Hillman Accelerator and general partner of Lightship Capital.
And I'm Alexis Alston. I'm the associate for the fund and help selections for the show.
Excellent. And so now, with that, any other things, ladies, before we get started in this first pitch? Anything for the people? Well, hello to old Jay Brath here. Good to have you
just
back.
like JB Rath, Jay Brath, like we see him every week.
That's a good question. We need to do these phonetic, spellings of these usernames.
Yeah.
I love his Black Panther icon.
The Black Panther's great.
Yes. Excellent. So with that, Marlon, voice of God, he's also here in the background. Oh. I know Jeff. What's up, Jeff?
He's like, okay. All you had to do is like add a little bit more to that.
Man, a little more context, and now you know exactly how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, Marlon, please play the first pitch for Hubbly Surgical.
I'm Dr. Nikhil Murthy, a rising neurosurgeon at Northwestern and VP of Operations for Hubbly Surgical, where we are making neurosurgery safe. Let me start with a story. When I was on call, I had a patient, a mother of 3, who was brought by ambulance to the trauma bay of our hospital. Her son had just found her at home unconscious less than an hour ago. When I met her, she had trouble breathing, even with a breathing tube, and was unresponsive. An emergent CAT scan showed a ruptured brain aneurysm. She needed a skull puncture to drain the blood filling her brain within minutes, or she would die. I called for multiple supplies and began using the standard equipment to do the procedure. I had to rush to connect the drill bit, brace a manual drill against my body, and hope my experience and training was enough to make sure I didn't plunge the drill through her skull and into her brain. She survived, but that experience was one of the most stressful, yet not uncommon experiences in neurosurgery. In that moment, what I needed was a safer, more advanced solution for the procedure. Stories like these are why most neurosurgeons would pay for a safer, easier to use solution for what is the highest failure procedure, the skull puncture. Stories like mine are why Hubbly was founded. The skull puncture is the most common neurosurgical procedure in the US and in the world. It's performed 100,000 times a year in the US, but 20,000 of these result in major complications. With our drilling system, the Hubbly safety features reduce the risk of the procedure in emergency and non-emergency situations, inside and outside of the operating room. We conservatively estimate that we'll save 5,000 lives each year and eliminate plunging into the brain, which costs the US healthcare system $1 billion each year. Skull puncture is one of the oldest known surgeries. For millennia, it was done with a hammer and chisel. About 6,500 years ago, there was a great innovation, the hand crank drill. The version that is used at the bedside today, like I described in my story, is a hand crank drill without any intrinsic features for safety or guidance. There's an additional depth stop that can be manually screwed onto the drill, but can slip while drilling, does not automatically account for skull thickness, and often delays the procedure. Failure in any setting results from misguided drilling, accidentally drilling past the skull and plunging into the brain, and from catheter misplacement. It takes neurosurgeons an average of 3 passes to achieve correct catheter position. I've witnessed all of these scenarios. Other companies have tried to address these issues with a cumbersome add-on guide and a battery-powered drill without plunge prevention. They all had poor surgeon satisfaction and failed. The potential for risk can lead to devastating outcomes, which is why we invented the Hubbly drilling system. Our twice patent pending technology includes drilling guidance, automated plunge prevention so that the drill bit retracts after puncturing the skull, and catheter alignment to reduce the number of passes. It is also battery powered to improve speed and ease of the procedure. In the future, we'll be adding customizable bedside image guidance. Based on 5 NIH studies demonstrating the benefits of catheter alignment, the Hubley drilling system could save 5,000 lives each year through catheter guidance alone. It also eliminates plunging into brain tissue, which again costs the US healthcare system $1 billion annually. We're a Class 2 510K device. Based on our predicate devices and FDA consultants, we will not need in-human trials. Today, for all bedside and some operating room procedures, the current solution is a $1,200 single-use disposable kit. That's the hand crank drill, along with the scalpel, forceps, and other tools. They are bought in bulk and are stored throughout the hospital for quick off-the-shelf access. The Hubley drill kit is also single-use, disposable, bundled with the necessary tools, and will be priced at $2,000 per kit. With our safety features reducing patient complications and procedure failure, we conservatively estimate our device could save hospitals $10,000 per procedure. The Hubley drilling system is not only better, but reduces costs overall. Our margin will be 75% at launch. Based on our current hospital pipeline, we expect to sell 10,000 units in the first year of launch. That's $20 million in revenue. Selling 65,000 units will make $100 million net profit. Our primary markets are those which rely heavily on junior trainees and non-neurosurgeons, and which face financial crises. In a post-COVID world, this is especially important. The Hubley drilling system is an easy and fast way to reduce costs, will get patients out of the hospital faster, and allows inexperienced doctors to save lives in emergency situations. We've currently raised $200,000 of pre-seed funding. We're seeking an additional $150,000 for cadaver studies that we'll conduct in July. After, we'll need $4 million to achieve FDA clearance and scale. We'll then raise our Series A, gain additional clearances, and build out a small in-house sales force to get our revenue from $20 million in year one to that $135 million mark. Amidst COVID-19 and economic downturn, we're keeping costs to a minimum and building our company to be the best it can be. We currently have 2 years of runway. We're applying to grants, building our branding, and above all, prioritizing in-garage prototype development. When we do fundraise at the end of shelter in place, we have the advantage of being pre-revenue and planning to enter the market in 2022. We have a diverse team with software, device, and bioengineers, as well as 2 rising neurosurgeons. I'm the VP of Operations at Hubley, a current Kellogg student, and have neurosurgery training from Northwestern and the Mayo Clinic. Our coaches and advisors also have a vast amount of experience in industry, law, and venture capital. One more thing. Our current technology could be applied to other indications with lower failure rates, but enormous markets. And we're developing new technology as well. But for now, we're Hubley, and we protect brains.
All right, here's a team with Hubley.
Hey everyone.
Hey, Casey.
How's it going?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Folks in the audience don't know this, but I love the super nerdy, like, tech. Like, this is my favorite kind of company. So yeah, excited to have you here today.
Well, thank you very much.
Brian, do I go first?
Please do.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit more about, so there was a slide that discussed the pricing model. $1,200 is the current solution, and then the Hubley system being $2,000. Can you talk a little bit about why there's a $10,000 cost savings by using Hubley?
Yeah, exactly. So that all comes down to reducing complications. So again, the current drill, I actually have a prop with me. This is the current drill that's used today. So
we love prop and merch. We love prop and merch.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty scary. You probably wouldn't want this in your brain. It has super high complication rates at the bedside. So this is the $1,200 drill. This results in complications such as stroke, hemorrhage, infection, dying half the time that it's used. And so those 50% of procedures, they get transferred to the operating room. If the patient survives, then there's super high readmittance rates. They have to be in the hospital for longer. So the goal, the $10,000 comes from reducing the transfer to the operating room, reducing complication rates in general.
Okay. Somewhere also there was a slide that discussed let me think about this. So there was a slide that discussed the Hubley system going in and then retracting quickly.
Yeah.
So how did they come to that solution as opposed to something different?
Yeah, so basically
the plunging system. So
yeah,
it
exactly.
stops at a certain point.
Yeah,
And
so
my drill will go in here.
yeah, so the two options for avoiding plunging the drill bit into brain tissue are either auto stop or auto retraction. And
Okay.
so auto stop would be some kind of mechanism so that the drill bit immediately stops once it breaks through the skull. Ours actually moves forward a teeny bit, up 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, and then retracts. And so the reason we decided on that is because one, it actually stops slightly at the exact moment of puncturing the skull. And so it goes forward a teeny bit to just clear out that hole to make sure that the doctor doesn't need to go back in there to make sure that the hole in the skull is all the way through. And then it completely retracts just to make sure that even if the doctor is still pushing on the drill, they're not going to harm the patient.
And pre-cadaver, what is the testing that you're doing?
Yeah, so we've been doing it in animal models.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Lexi?
Tell me a little bit about your go-to-market strategy after you've gained clearance. Are you approaching major publications or the American Association of Neuroscience, or how do you plan on penetrating those teaching schools, the DoD, and I don't remember your other third demographic?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be doing cadaver studies this summer. We'll be doing our FDA trials. All of these different trials and studies will be wanting to publish in major journals. And so that's definitely just that's always something we're going to be working on. In terms of go-to-market strategy, what we're going to do is prior to achieving FDA clearance, we'll build out a really small in-house sales force. And we're actually going to start off with that first bubble that you saw, the teaching hospitals. And we'll focus on 3 major teaching hospitals, institutions. And so where we personally have connections is with Northwestern, UT Health System, and Stanford. And so what we'll do is we'll have our 3 in-house sales reps, and we'll just try to wrap up as much revenue as we possibly can in those 3 centers before then making a decision to either seek an acquisition or scale and raise a Series B. But yeah, we'll definitely be doing post-clearance studies and getting data from those 3 major teaching institutions to have the ability to scale.
Thank you.
So let me first say, storytelling is such an important part of any pitch, and the story that was told as part of this pitch was like super impactful. I mean, I was like cringing with everyone else, like as you talk about the dangers and the impact, and like, is it going to work or not? And, it's just, I thought it was a great way to get your message across and why it's so important, even beyond the economics of it, right? I have a question about rural hospitals. So often, and you're familiar, often we see kind of different outcomes depending on what part of the country you live in, different tools, that sort of thing. It feels like this has an opportunity to kind of democratize the level of care in a rural and an urban environment. So could you talk a little bit about that, if that's correct or if I'm just way off?
No, that's hit it right on the target.
Hit the Hubley on the target, yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so basically what our product is aiming to do is to reduce the failure of this procedure due to human error. And so this drill right here, when it's performed by a really experienced neurosurgeon, it works. These guys know what they're doing. They are experts at their job. But the reality is that it's not often performed by super experienced neurosurgeons. So it's actually performed by junior residents a lot. This ventriculostomy procedure is the very first procedure that neurosurgery residents learn, like in their curriculum. And then beyond that, there are only 3,500 neurosurgeons in the United States total, for our population of 330 million, which means that they're focused in New York, in the Bay Area. They're not, like you said, in rural clinics. And so the idea is that right now, the procedure can fail, as Nikhil went over: misguided drilling, plunge, catheter misguidance. And we would reduce all of those so that someone, a general surgeon, a intern, if they have to perform this procedure, then they can do it with success.
Super helpful, super helpful. And you've got a ton of questions from the audience. Looks like they're very interested in what you guys are doing. So we're going to invite in Marlon, our kind of voice of God and producer, to ask the questions from the audience.
Awesome.
All right, I appreciate it, Brian. First question is, what's the measurement of the device?
Yeah, so it'll be handheld, same as kind of a one-to-one with the current device. Right now, our latest proof of concept prototype is about that big, but we're actually trying to get it as small as possible. So we're still in prototype development, I guess is his question. But the smaller, the better, so that the neurosurgeon has more control.
This is a perfectly reasonable answer. I like that. Just
I think that's fantastic.
All right. Next question.
Next question says, is this just one product, or are there other planned products?
Yeah, so right now it's one product. The other planned products are to take the deep tech that we have of this plunge prevention that's entirely mechanical, based on physics principles, and apply that to products that would help make epidurals and lumbar puncture safer.
And there's the important thing to hear. There we go. That's a great answer.
All right. So next question says, what stops larger companies with much larger R&D budget to enter the market or create a superior product?
Yeah, so we get this question a lot. Basically, what would stop a larger company is that the amount of time and energy and how fast a startup needs to be to go through all of this different customer discovery and prototype development. We're at the point, and we are ever getting to the point where it really makes more sense for the Medtronics and Strykers of the world to just acquire us than to do it all themselves.
I mean, that's the game, right? That's the whole thing, is like, let you guys go through all the pain, go through all the learning, all through it, right? The tough part,
Yeah.
come out the other side and go, that's really smart. Here you are. Like, and then go from there. Or not, and you guys just go on and change the world. Either way, it works.
We're happy with either.
Brian, can I ask the last question?
Please
Actually,
do.
I have two. Awesome. So I'm going to ask Marlon's question here, and it is there a chance you don't get FDA clearance? If so, what happens next?
Yeah. So we're going through a 510K Class 2 pathway. So I'll start off by saying we plan to do everything right, which is, hiring the FDA consultants who have a predicate device. And so odds are low that we would just straight up get rejected by the FDA. However, that does happen. If that does happen, then, we go back to the drawing board, we troubleshoot, same thing software engineers do all the time. And we say, okay, here are our patents, here is our technology. Maybe we could try to get FDA clearance for a different indication. So, we'll start off by getting FDA cleared for patients with hydrocephalus. I'm getting off track, but basically that's patients who have excess fluid and pressure in the brain. We would say, do we need to iterate on the device and make the device different? Or we'd say maybe we could use it toward a different indication, and we would try again.
Awesome. Okay, and this is my final question. It has nothing to do with the company.
Okay.
So I saw the slides, but I don't remember everyone's role and what they did. So Casey, what's your role at the company, and what brought you here?
I am founder, CEO.
Okay, perfect.
What brought me to the company?
Yeah, what made you want to do this?
Yeah, so my background is actually in neuroscience, bioengineering, academia, and I decided to get into this because same reason I think most people go into med devices, where one, you have some kind of personal connection, someone who underwent a procedure, there were complications, and it was really bad. And then the second reason is, this goes back to my background in research, where I decided after seeing how much need there is with not just creating technology, but also making sure that the application and adoption of that technology for improving people's lives. Basically, I realized there's a lot of work to be done there, and that's something that I would like to be a part of as well. So that's how I switched from academia research to entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Congrats.
Thank
Great
you.
company.
Casey, you're just super inspiring for us and for the audience. And so keep it up, keep changing the world.
Well,
Any
thanks.
questions for us before we go and talk about you?
No, how's your day going?
That's great. So far, so good.
It's going great.
Memorial Day.
You literally made it. I'm kind of over the moon about seeing founders who have just big ideas and that want to help people, right? And you're smart. There's a million things you could be doing, right? You could be Wall Street trading, whatever, right? And you choose to use your skills to make the world a better place. So
our best investments so far have been women with advanced degrees coming up with great ideas. So I'm always excited to meet a woman scientist. I think that you all are the future. You see so many med devices come to market, and somehow, some way, there's a male face at the front of it, even though a woman was behind the entire idea. So, good job, super cool.
Yeah, and investors need to understand that women-led companies in this space do very well, do very, very well, right? And so we should all be backing them as much as possible. So,
yeah.
Well, thanks so much. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Oh, wait, and Brian, the question: would you invest in this company?
We did cover it in the chat, but yes.
We did? Okay, but we should ask it again.
Yeah, well, let's say it again.
Votes.
Would you invest in Hubley Surgical? Vote here on Twitter. Link in the chat.
Awesome.
All right. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, here's the thing. They haven't passed all of these things, right? So the way you fund a company at this stage is typically through grants. And that's just the truth of it. So, that's the process. Federal grants, if you can find some at the university level, that's always a great to do. And generally, if you can find an angel investor, but a lot of this stuff is done at the university level. It's not necessarily done at the venture level, unless you have somebody who specializes in that space. But with that being said, we have invested in a company who had cleared, 510K, but hadn't gone all the way through FDA clearance. It took them a little over a year to get it. We took that risk. There is a risk there. It's just whether or not you can take a calculated risk on a company like this.
Lexi, this is a space you tend to like.
I do. I love medical devices, for better or worse. And for me, this is one of those companies that would get my lovely tracking email where I would say, put me on your investor updates, your quarterly updates. And really, let's talk every couple of months, because once they've, stop laughing, I see it.
I forgot that I was here for a minute. And I was like, I'm going to pop this potato chip in my mouth. And then suddenly it was on camera. It's all good. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that.
That was great. Not sponsored by chips. But yeah, I would love to keep track of this company. And I generally don't feel comfortable investing pre-clearance. But once they received clearance and had a super robust pipeline of doctors and clinics ready to use it, I think that could be really, really interesting.
Yeah, yes to everything you guys said. I feel like they have de-risked the investment a little bit by having 24 months runaway. I thought that was a really impressive stat in this age, right? For this style of company. Hardware device companies, independent of being medicine can be labor intensive and capital intensive. And then medical ones are even more so. So it was interesting to see that they had a little bit of runway there. I think to Candice's point, if they can like layer on some grants on top of that, that's just even if you came in before clearance, you could comfortably say like, look, even without me, these guys are going to be around for a few years. They'll get through the iterations necessary to get clearance because I believe in the founder because she's smart and all those things. But yeah, I think a lot of the institutional money is going to say there's a term that VCs use, like you don't want someone to learn on your burn, right? So they're getting through things, they're learning things, they're getting better, and the progress is clearly very good. But if you can probably get a very similar valuation on the other side of the clearance, right? And so, why not just invest at that stage? That said, those people that take the risk with her earlier will be greatly rewarded, I think, more so than folks that come in later.
Yeah, and I'll also add that, she's a person to track, right? Like that type of founder, what she's doing is a person to track. When she said, we're building garage prototypes, that's the kind of person you want to deal with. Someone who's going to actually like make a prototype and have it work from something super easy that didn't cost $1 million to do it. So can you test with something that only costs, $30 through the 3D printing machine? Or if you're not tracking her, track her team, because the other women that she's training, they're next up. Or the university they're at, see what else that they're pushing out through their kind of R&D commercialization programs. So, it's just staying close to something like this and helping them to navigate. And sometimes it may not be an investment, it's helping them navigate the right, relationships with manufacturers, medical device manufacturers, so that as they get to where they need to get to, they can have that kind of super fast growth that they need in year one. Because I think they were trying to get to what, 10 or $20 million their first year. It's wholly possible, but there's going to have to be a lot of work that happens to get there.
A few steps in between, but yeah, it seemed reasonable, but there's a few steps in between for sure. So I'll ask again, if you would invest in that company, take the Twitter poll. We're going to put it on the screen one more time. It's also in the comments. And then let us know how you feel about Blue Surgical. Also, for all the newbies, there's a lot of new people on the show in the comments tonight. So we've got some old friends, got some new friends. Thank you for coming. Watch us here every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Though programming alert, this Thursday will be on at 8 p.m. Is that right?
That's right. I have a talk for Startup Tulsa at 7 p.m. Eastern. So folks can check out LinkedIn or Twitter to find out more details about that.
So you can watch us here Tuesdays and Thursdays live. Also, we've got a Sunday show coming up where we're going to recap this entire round. We're also play a lot of our replays on Sundays as well. So come back. I like to be in the chat on Sundays to answer any questions. So catch us Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays for the live shows as well. And we will be live this Sunday for the recap show.
And there might be a new host.
There will be a new host.
There will be a new host. I don't know why I said might. There will be a new host.
Somebody who's much better than I. But I will be here on the show, but there'll be someone else doing this part I'm talking about right now. And yes, we are using StreamYard for the folks that are curious about what kind of great tools we're using. Sunday's show is going to be in the morning. Do you guys recall what time? Or Marlon Voice of God, maybe?
It's on Slack. I don't remember, but I want to say 10 a.m. Eastern. But I'm not.
Yep, it's 10. Marlon corrected me.
10 a.m. Eastern.
We just picked the time earlier.
This Sunday recap show live 10 a.m. Eastern. Set your clocks.
Cool.
All right. And so I think with that, we will go on to the next company.
Yeah.
Excellent. So next is Pack Elephant.
Hi, my name is Winsome Curtin, and I'm the founder of Pack Elephant, a values-driven B2B gifting platform. Corporate gifting is a $125 billion industry, according to many sources, and we've identified this as a missed opportunity to create impact with artists, craftsmen, and other creative entrepreneurs that make our communities fun places to live. Think about the last swag bag you received from a conference. Where were those products made? Who made them? If we think about consumer conscientiousness over the last 10 years, it has trended in the direction of intentional sourcing. And this has been mirrored in a corporate setting with increased emphasis on D&I and supplier diversity initiatives. With the current pandemic, incredible strain has been put on small business owners, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds, and it's positioned us pretty well as a sustainable solution in the marketplace. When visiting packelephant.com on your desktop or mobile device, customers will be guided along a separate journey based on the volume and frequency of their gifting needs. As customers make a higher monthly pledge to intentionally sourced gifts, additional features are unlocked on the site, making their gift more customized. All customers can filter gifts by the values that matter to them. Pledged customers who pay into a piggy bank on a monthly basis will be able to build their own gift with products that they like, schedule their gifts, and access an impact dashboard. On the back end, makers have their own profiles where they manage a dynamic consignment relationship with Pack Elephant. That means that our co-packers keep low inventory on hand, and we only pay makers and take our margin on goods sold when the sale actually happens. As part of our service to makers, we provide premium placement and marketing in every box, which we'll talk about more soon. As a social enterprise, we pay a great deal of attention to the impact we're making in our communities, and we are measuring that across supplier diversity categories that matter to our corporate enterprise customers. This will soon be an interactive dashboard on our platform that they can access on their own. To get into the platform, makers and products are first vetted against a set of criteria. Makers must agree to define lead times and payment terms and have the capacity needed to meet the requirements of our high volume buyers. Most importantly though, they must bring some measure of diversity to the table and have a story to tell. Products must be of high quality, fit in the box, be beautiful, and be able to withstand shipment. The unboxing experience is the crux of the experience that we want to create. So all of these curated products are packaged beautifully with a set of cards that tell the maker's stories. Based on feedback, we know that these stories foster a connection between the recipient and the makers, and that's the point. We want gift recipients to get to know these makers, appreciate their craft, and find them when they're ready to shop. We just completed our first full fiscal year in operation, and it was a good year. We hit our $100,000 revenue target and served 32 corporate customers, nearly half of whom purchased more than once. And we also have almost 100 makers in our portfolio today. We've largely bootstrapped with $80,000 invested from founders, family, and grants. And we were finalists in an elite accelerator program. Looking forward, we have exciting things ahead with our product roadmap. We're moving away from our MVP, which is a Squarespace site, to a better platform with the back end that can accommodate our scale. We also are onboarding a regional co-packer, our first, that will help enable our scale. And we're looking forward to more hires later this year, as well as our first marketing campaign push for holiday of 2020. When I graduated with an art degree, we were in the middle of a recession, and it became abundantly apparent that finding financial security as an artist was not likely. So I went into advertising, went back to school, and was introduced to this concept of a social enterprise. While in advertising, I was on the receiving end of so many gifts that were just missed. They didn't resonate with me, and they didn't represent the values of the gifting company. And this sparked an idea. I'm joined by some incredible talent. Ray Curtin, my brother, is highly qualified with his experience and academic accomplishments. As such, he is the numbers guy who leads fundraising and makes sure the business is set up for profitability. Our director of experience in Austin, as well as our developer here in Grand Rapids, are building our new platform. Our next hires will be in sales with somebody who can help systemize our strategy for national reach. And we'll eventually want to get someone in operations to help us set up for scale. We hope you enjoyed listening, and we look forward to answering any questions.
All right, here is the team. Hello.
Hello. I also see the numbers guy.
How you
I
doing?
love, there's so much Philly love, and there's also Michigan love in this story. We love both places a lot. I'm a Philadelphian originally, so I got to shout out, that for sure.
Nice.
So I'll go first. Again, really good presentation. I think you're actually already starting to see in the comments, people love the packaging, love the idea, the sustainability of it. And for me, the curation is a really, really important point. There's a lot of boxes, some the very quality levels, let's say, and that's like being super, super nice about it. Some are just trash, right? So tell me what role for you and how you guys are gonna keep it up, and tell that person you're on Twitch page as well. Just call. You're muted, but I know it's an amazing answer.
Okay, thank you. So my role, I'm the founder and CEO of Pack Elephant. I'm Winsome, and we have been in operation now for just under 2 years. So I hope I'm answering your question, because there was a little bit of an interruption with the phone ringing while you were asking it.
That's the right truth about quality control, how you keep it high.
Yeah, so as far as quality control with our box, we have a very strict set of requirements when it comes to packing. For the first year and a half in operation, we actually were responsible for all of the packing ourselves, which was a very time-intensive process, but it taught us exactly what we needed to know to ensure that every box looks exactly the way we want it to look. And then we actually did design the packaging, and I have an example of a box here for you.
I love it. I love examples.
But yeah, we're really excited about the first full-scale production run that's currently it's currently in production. So we'll be receiving about 5,000 boxes in a few months to help us as we continue scaling.
Lexi.
So tell me a little bit about, in terms of why you're gifting on the corporate level. Is this the holiday gift box, the Christmas gift box that I get from the company every year, or is this more event-specific driven gifting, both or neither? Somewhere else in the middle.
Sure. So it encompasses all corporate gifting. We have done conferences, gifting 200 plus boxes at a time. We've also done many gifts now, especially with COVID, for companies that are looking for ways to keep employees engaged as they work from home. And we have a pretty impressive pipeline of corporate customers, including large sports franchises, as well as blue chip tech companies that gift to their employees or high value customers. So yeah, to answer your question, it's kind of everything from a gifting perspective from companies. And I think it's important to really call out that when we look at companies that have some sort of corporate responsibility mission tied to their values, or they have supplier diversity goals, D&I initiatives, we're really looking at a growth market that has been growing incredibly fast. So, I think that when we look at ourselves, especially against some of the other box companies and the competition in the marketplace, we're the only ones that are really doing it this way and elevating underrepresented talent in a way that helps them get access to high volume sales.
And also, just to add from a strategy perspective, we started out focused on corporate customers and focused on large events, just because logistically those are much easier to handle. So you have, low customer acquisition costs, and you get a lot of revenue, and you can make the same box over and over again, which is logistically a lot easier. With COVID, though, we have shifted a little bit of our focus to individual consumers. So with our first holiday box specifically pushed for individual consumers, which was Mother's Day, we put together the Wakanda box, which was essentially a box full of high quality products made from all Black-owned businesses. And that was, a huge success. Now, obviously, that was a little bit more difficult to manage operationally, given that we're sending to a lot more different addresses, and there's, maybe personalized note cards or personalizations on individual boxes, which is when we decided to, go ahead and outsource and create this co-packer relationship that we hope to onboard within the next month, which will really help us scale not only in the corporate side, but also in the individual consumer side.
So that said, which of these avenues do you foresee being your largest segment for growth going forward?
Yeah, so I think that our largest segment for growth going forward is going to be corporate. So, I think that these customers, especially a lot of the sports franchises or large blue chip tech companies that have a national footprint and they really care about, supporting their local community and have mission mandates. I think that this will enable us to expand, across the entire nation. And, that's like the biggest bite out of the opportunity. However, in the long run, I do think that as, we get more exposure to individual consumers, that side of the equation will start catching up as well as people, continue to buy gifts for themselves and for family members.
I want to just quickly add on to that too, that we're actually starting to explore partnerships across the country on a city level, especially as cities and chambers start to imagine what the economy 2.0 will look like with recovery efforts, especially knowing how adversely impacted small businesses have been, especially those that are traditionally excluded from these channels. So I think that when we look at our future go-to-market strategy with these types of partnerships, I mean, there is a lot of opportunity on the business side. And as Ronaldo kind of said, and I'll echo, the consumer side will catch up.
Candice.
Can you break down a little bit more about the pricing model? I got lost on the platform and talking about like who the user is. So there's a guest user, there's a giver, they pay $50 a month. There's the boss, they pay $200 a month. There's the enterprise, they pay $1,500 a month. I kind of got lost on like who that is and why the pricing structure is that way.
Sure. So what we found is that we do have many different types of customers based on their buying behavior. So, even when looking within corporate customers, if you think about a realtor who's purchasing for a closing gift every time she sells a house, maybe twice a month, her giving level is going to be different. And we want to be able to create an experience for her that mirrors that, but still allows some level of personalization without, kind of driving us crazy on the back end logistically. When we think about a larger company that maybe does conferences, an event planner that's buying 200 plus gifts at a time, they're going to have different expectations with the way that box is priced and with the way that it is ultimately delivered and the level of kind of white glove service that comes along with that. So our effort here is really just to make sure that we're segmenting them and getting them the experience that they want. As far as the pricing goes, it's actually quite simple. They're not paying a subscription. What they're doing is just paying into an account that they can then use to buy anything that they want on the platform.
Got it.
Where we're getting our margin is on the products themselves and on the box and on the packaging.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. With that, we'll go to some questions from the audience. I'll just remind everybody, you can let us know your vote if you would invest in Pack Elephant by going to the link on Twitter right here on your screen or in the chat. So, Marlon, voice of God, would you come in and give us some of the questions from the audience?
No problem. First question says, who are your direct competitors, and why would I purchase for your box versus your competitors?
Sure. So when we think about the buyer's perspective, our primary competition, especially for corporate customers, are other premium box companies like NAC, based in San Francisco, BoxFox, based in Austin. Where we really differentiate ourselves is with our mission. We haven't seen any other gifting company with national reach that actually allows users to filter based on their social values, tell the maker's stories in every gift, and actually measure the community impact that they're making with their purchase. So we know already that corporate customers and enterprises struggle to measure and meet their supplier diversity goals, especially when it comes to tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers. And this comes from our direct experience. So we've already been measuring that. We've been collecting data since day one. And we're really proud to say that over 85% of our makers today are actually woman-owned. About 48% are minority-owned, including Black and Hispanic makers. 15% are veteran-owned. We just started measuring LGBTQ ownership as well. And I think that,
as we continue kind of getting this data and making it accessible to customers in the platform through a dashboard, that's a real differentiator from our competition.
How are old school corporate gift catalogs or websites pivoting toward innovation? Because those things have been around for a really long time. What are they doing?
Yeah, so a lot of them are offering actually this customizable box. Is what we've noticed, where there's some level of pick and pack your own gift based on what you know about the person that you're gifting to. But what it doesn't really meet is actually picking and packing things based on your values. So I think the trend towards customization and personalization in these gifts is definitely rising. It's definitely there, but putting the spin on it of being mission focused is I think how we're kind of pushing it a little bit further.
Marlon, next question.
In terms of teams, are you going to have trouble iterating with only a freelance developer?
So for now, a freelance developer is what we can afford.
Right.
Just like breaking it down, but we will eventually want to have our own in-house tech team, especially as the tech gets more complicated. I think that it's not a necessary step for us to take right now in the early phases as we just establish our traction and grow our customer set.
Another question says, do you have a return corporate customers, or do you see companies order once on average?
No, actually, almost half of our corporate customers have ordered more than once. About a third of them have ordered actually more than 4 times. If we look at our numbers between the last year and this year, and that's obviously not including any of the new customers that we've onboarded since then. But I think what part of our strategy, and you asked about Candice asked about the kind of the pledge model that we had earlier, is to really maximize the lifetime value of each customer by getting them to commit to supporting their local or underrepresented craftsmen every time that they need a gift. So once we really have our technology, where we want it to be, we think that we're going to see our customers really coming back to Pack Elephant every time they need that gift, because it'll be easy, it'll be tracked in one place. When they go to write off their taxes, if you are a realtor, it'll be really easy to access. So repeat buyers is definitely a plus.
I've got a selfish question from us. We're going to be doing more and more work in Michigan in the coming months and years. And so what are the things that people like ourselves could do or bring to the ecosystem there to make your life easier, better, make your business better?
That's an interesting question. So here in Michigan, I know there is a lot of emphasis on trying to encourage new entrepreneurs to start companies. What we do see though here, especially for founders of color, is that it is difficult to raise capital. So I think, competitions like this are incredibly helpful for getting us exposed here in the marketplace. And yeah, I mean, all of our entrepreneurs that we work with in our platform, they are really just looking for ways to maximize their exposure, get scale with their sales. So I think, yeah, anything that you can do to just help drive the cycle of exposure is really helpful here at Michigan.
Yeah, one of the things that people may or may not know from the show is when people apply to be on the show, they're essentially also applying for services from us at the exact same time. We don't take these as just applications for the show, but as relationships that we're building. And literally, these people are all going to be on a mailing list where they can get any kind of service that's given to us, we can offer back to them. Because ultimately, this work is about supporting underrepresented founders that are not in the coasts, right, to be successful. So love your business, love what you're doing, love where you're doing it, love who you guys are.
Thank you.
I'd like to talk about you guys behind your back next. So with that, again, for the folks that are watching, if you would invest in Pack Elephant, please vote with your fingers there on Twitter. And we will thank you guys for coming on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, Winsome and Ray.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. How do you guys feel about Pack Elephant?
Who's gonna start?
I can start. I don't know if anyway, I can start. So there's a lot of boxes, right, in the world. Probably too many. That said, a lot of boxes are not very good quality. That's like a huge problem. And a lot of boxes don't have a lot of return customers, right? That's also a huge problem. They seem to have touched on quality. They've touched on like the correct cultural component. And I'm super impressed with the fact that people come back 4 times. These are all really good signs for a box maker.
Yeah, here's what I'm concerned about. So supplier diversity seems like a really big space, right? There was the $1 billion roundtable, and there was a pledge by some of the Fortune 500 companies that they would spend $1 billion amongst diverse suppliers. But from my experience in the local area, where we have very large companies, large CPG companies, large banks, large retailers, is that the number of suppliers in the diverse supplier system is very small. And those people don't make any room or space for anyone new coming in. It is dog eat dog in supplier diversity, right? And sometimes what happens is you get that first contract for supplying straws, and then they say, we're looking for somebody for napkins. Can you do the napkins too? We're not going to go look for anybody else. We want you to do the napkins too. What about the cups? We're not going to put out anything for the cups. We need you to do the napkins, the cups, and the straws. Put them all together. And then there's no way to get anyone else in, right? So I think that it's going to be difficult to take only that route for the corporations. I like what she's doing with real estate agents, but at the same time, we're hearing that, these are kind of one-offs. So my only concern is like scale and how to get there, because I don't necessarily believe that some of the larger corporations are struggling to find diverse suppliers in this particular space.
Yeah, one of the stats I hate about supply diversity stats is they're measured in number of dollars, and not in individuals, and not in firms oftentimes, right? And so we see this on everything from construction to napkins and straws, right? Where it's like, let's find one person in the entire city. Let's just pour as much money into that one person as we can, and that person has no incentive to share that wealth or bring anyone else into the tent, right? Maybe they've got their own team, their own staff. There's a variety of their own investors. There's a lot of reasons why, but at the end of the day, making one person in an entire city super wealthy is not making the problem go away, and is not true to supply diversity. Also, they tend to, because they're doing straws and napkins and cups, they're saying we have 3 different products that are using 3 diverse suppliers, but it's really not, right? It's just the same person all 3 times, and they're triple counting that person, right? So,
I know the person in Cincinnati that supplies all gifts and awards for most of the larger corporations. She's not going anywhere.
And she ain't sharing. I don't know her, but she ain't sharing.
Right.
Probably, right?
So who is that person in every city? And maybe, and this is the hard part about talking behind somebody's back, right? Maybe there's an answer to this. So maybe we need to do a better job of like them being in the comments as we talk trash about them.
Yeah, let's do that. They can come here and get it.
But that is my only concern. But I will say what I'm in love with is that they're going after, finding small businesses that they're mission aligned with. There's one of our service providers, Brian, occasionally sends us candles, right? From the Malicious Women Candle Company. And whenever they've got a great candle that comes out, we get one of these malicious women candles. The last one was for the coronavirus, and when you burn it, you know, it's supposed to get rid of the coronavirus. Or we got one about, you know, meetings that should have been emails. And so it's nice to get those gifts, and they made a choice to find a women-owned business. So I do understand what she's doing, and I understand the strategy. Just hopefully she can change enough minds and enough organizations to take the company to scale beyond being a lifestyle type of business.
Lexi?
One thing that I thought about as she was mentioning the kind of the realtor relationship bit is I wonder, is there a way to make this, and you probably can guess what I'm going to say, Brian, can you make this a predictive gifting system? Could I say, you know, hey, we're looking at all our real estate clients, generally this time of year or this many months after close or before close of a deal, you should send your client a gift. Same thing with the other industries that they're working in. I wonder if there's a way to make that happen. I think that could be really cool. I'm also highly biased because I love throwing AI and ML onto deals, but that I think would be really, really fun to see. Is there a way to increase people's sales conversions on these really salesy, relationshipy type industries by predictive gifting?
And Lexi, what's AI ML? I know what it is.
Ask Brian.
Oh, well, she knows too, but
I mean, you just have to define what they are.
artificial intelligence / machine learning, and there are they're two separate, discrete disciplines, but we use the terms interchangeably generally.
Got it. Just checking.
Yeah. I could really get deep into what that is, but the people don't want to hear that. So, if
Tuesday stream.
Yeah, we'll do a whole AI chat one day. It'll be fire. But if you would invest in Pack Elephant, please vote here. You see it on your screen. You see it in the comments. We need your votes to know who's going to move on to the next round. It's super, super helpful for us and helpful for the company as well. All right. Any final thoughts before we thank our sponsors one more time and then go to behind the scenes? Excellent. So thank you for watching Twitch Pitch today. Fun.
This is why we need a host. Because you just got super awkward.
That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be like, hey, thank you for coming, blah, blah, blah. They're supposed to be like all jazzy about it.
Got it.
See, the people think it's great. Thank you.
Put this.
Thank you, Kimberly. Appreciate you. I'm voting for you in 2020, as a matter of fact. Thanks for watching the show. Thank you for being here. Huge thanks to our sponsors, Amazon Web Services and PitchBook. We'll do one more show on Thursday, which will be the end of round one. And then the winners of this round, we're going to put into the next round, which will be very, very good shows, great companies, all on the path to this $5,000 prize and this $100,000 in services from Amazon Web Services. So thank you all. Thanks for watching. We'll now go to the post show where we just chat and talk for a few minutes before we kind of close it out. So thanks for watching. Have a good night. Stay though, and watch us talk about nothing.
I'm about to eat these potato chips because these things go so late, and it takes so long to like at least put some makeup on and do my hair that I'm not eating dinner before this. So I'm hungry, and so I feel bad actually tonight because I felt a little hangry, and I think I was a little harsh.
Well, we do know that people who are hungry make harsher value judgments, right? So, yeah, it's
Casey
tough.
and Winsome and Ray were so nice, but I feel like I may have been harsher than usual.
No. I think it was good. I thought it was good. People need to hear that feedback.
Fun tip, you know what I used to tell people, and I actually still do it myself, is if you have a meeting you don't want to have, make it a lunch meeting. Bring in the food, let people eat for the first 20 minutes of the meeting before you say whatever you're going to say that's probably going to be disappointing or upsetting. Always provide food for bad meetings.
Wow, deep.
That's a good
I know. If I walk in the room, you got a whole spread. I know it's bad news.
100%. If you ever walk in and I've bought everyone lunch, it's not a good sign.
Ted Coker says we need a food sponsor.
I agree. Everyone should go on Twitter right now and at who should they at? Frito-Lay and who else?
Yeah.
Not Papa John's.
You want to know which one I want to try? Wrap snacks. Has anybody heard of wrap snacks?
Come on.
No. Okay.
Lexi,
so
I feel the same way.
I'm glad we have time. No. It looks super fun. And I think they just did a deal with Slutty Vegan.
Are we talking about the same thing?
Wrap snacks.
I will say I've tried 1 or 2 flavors and I was not impressed.
Do the people at home like wrap snacks? Can we get some comments here in the chat?
I just want to maybe I want to just try them. Okay? I'm not saying they need to sponsor because I'm sure everybody asks them to sponsor because that's the culture.
I'm hearing a lot of, I haven't had it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think they have real distribution, to be honest, at least at the kind of places that I shop.
Hello, OJ chips.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could share these things, but yeah, there goes wrap snacks. It's got the Slutty Vegan truck on it.
Oh man, come
right?
I don't know.
It's Slutty Vegan's maple barbecue kettle chips in Atlanta.
Here you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm real nervous. Yeah, what happens when you type in Slutty Vegan?
Is that Cardi B?
Yeah, they have a Cardi B chip.
Oh man.
Okay, let's pick something new.
I'm not for it.
Yeah, but okay, so maybe a drink sponsor could be
Ciroc. Absolutely.
No, I'm absolutely. You and I both know. We don't do alcohol sponsors at all.
It wouldn't be that one.
No alcohol sponsors. I love that you think you're that funny.
Actually though, I just spoke to, we talked about this briefly. I would love to try, this is not sponsored at all, but I would love to try Tohi, which is this new sparkling beverage that's made in the Midwest from Midwest farmers who are harvesting this great super berry that I can't remember how to pronounce. Oh, it sounds like it almost sounds like a rohi. I don't know. I'm mispronouncing the berry. But it's this super fruit, apparently, and they're putting it in this new sparkling beverage, and I really want to try that. And they do have distribution in the state that we live in and a lot of the states that we travel to. So we have to go get some.
Good
down.
idea. Yeah. Maybe we should start trying things on the show.
Startup snacks. That would be a whole other stream, just like startup snacks with like an AMA.
Startup snacks and see
I
if
like
they
that
taste good.
idea.
You know, if kids are unboxing toys, we can try startup snacks.
Yeah.
Mukbang community. We could just join that officially. Mukbang.
You and I both don't know. You know I don't know what you're talking
about.
So
mukbang it's a subcategory of ASMR, which is
it's insane.
People who have either physical reactions of relaxation, from watching certain things or listening to certain sounds. And for some people, watching or listening to people eat is incredibly relaxing.
I have misophonia, so I can't listen to people eat.
Videos tonight, Candice. It is disturbing.
No, but you know, like it makes me cringe. Misophonia is the fear of sound. If I hear people chewing, I can't handle my life.
So even on mute, it's disturbing. So what you do is you lay out an entire table of food, all laid out, and then you just slowly work your way through it, piece by piece. You know, it's disturbing.
That's frightening.
It's fascinating.
Tech culture degrees.
A black woman in Ohio, in Mason, Ohio, who became a multi-millionaire from her mukbang channel on YouTube.
Oh, it's a thing.
And now
I'm sorry. Spell this out for me. Muck, like I'm in the muck.
Mukbang.
No, it's Korean. MUKBANG.
Got it. Mm-mm.
Maybe you can get a Google image search we can put on.
No, I don't think we should, because this could turn into bad idea. Because it's going to be the problem at the bottom right corner, and the word "bang" is going to turn into something different. So bad idea. Bad idea.
All right. See, there's a perfectly innocent suggestion, Lexi, and it's gone dirty.
No, I'm just saying I'm super nervous about slutty vegan too. So you know.
No, that was yours. That was all you.
Yeah, I'm super. Okay, so wait, let's shift gears and talk a little bit about the show. So, what the audience doesn't know is we're moving to this like round 2, and I'd love to hear from them on how they think we should structure round 2, because obviously we can't just replay all of the videos again, right? Like that's just not an option. So I'd love to hear like from some folks, and maybe you can hit us up on Twitter or hit us in the live comments. Like, what would you like to see that's a little different in round 2 that we haven't done already?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for the people, we want to listen to what you guys want to see.
And maybe we'll ask them again before the next show, after the next show, and then on the recap.
Especially the recap this Sunday, for sure.
Yeah.
So tech culture is like, I can't believe you guys search for the filters off. Like, for real, for real.
What do you mean?
Come on, Candice, come on.
I don't understand. What are you saying?
Candice.
Like the adult filters?
Yeah, like the adult filters.
I don't think I have that set.
You turned it off.
Mine are on strict.
By default, it's on. So that means you turned it off. That's what he's saying. And now you're verifying.
I don't know.
Okay, it's not.
I'll check later. Yeah, I don't know.
It's not.
I mean, nothing bad has ever shown up unless I really looked for it myself, right?
Then you probably have it on.
You have it on. Yeah, then you have it on. See, tech culture, I know what you're talking about. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Sorry. I'm the gullible one on the team. My apologies.
She's pure. She's pure. She's nice.
It's innocent. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay Brad, Black-owned snacks list. We will have to go through this list after the show.
Let's do that. And we're happy to buy too, unlike the rest of these people who are just want the free stuff. Like, we want to support. So, it's all like,
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. How many rounds? There are 3 rounds. So we're in round 1. Next round, we will have 6 companies.
6 companies go back and forth, and then
we'll narrow it down to 3, and then that'll be the last
final.
show.
Yeah, those 3 will be pitching against each other for the win.
Yeah, kind of cool. All right, how about dinner?
I'm down.
Yes, yes. It was nice hanging out with everybody though tonight.
Thanks for coming. Tip your bartender.
Let's let that kid up the stairs that's been trying to get upstairs for the last hour. Did you see him come up? He tried to peek around the corner and then just ease right back down the stairs.
Oh.
I think my child is hungry too.
So since we're on backstage, Marlon, can you just end the stream? We stay on so we can do a quick recap here and then boom, boom. Is that possible, voice of God? God won't answer me. What am I doing wrong in my life? Oh, private chat. Let's see. Yes, he says. Okay, well then, goodbye, everybody, because Marlon's going to cut you all off. But we miss you.
Good night.
It's been real. Good night. God bless.